All right, so now we're going to be working on entries to the clamp guard. First of all, what is the clamp guard? So clamp guard is essentially the ashigurami of the upper body. And it's going to be when our opponent's arms are separated. We're able to have a knee into the far shoulder. We're able to have our heel into the far neck. The beauty of this position is try to grab your hands together. You can't, okay? So it keeps them separated, which allows a lot of attacks for us, okay? Whenever our opponent has their hands connected, it makes things a lot harder for us. But as you can tell, getting to this position is very difficult, as for all high guards. Most high guards, you're gonna have to use flexibility to set them up, but your spine is bent, so even when you're using these things, you can still get crushed, okay? So go ahead and put pressure into me, and now I'm having to use flexibility and possibly strength and things that I don't need to. So the best way for us to set this off is off of that initial sumigashi sweep, where they open up their face, okay? So again, we're staying nice and tight here. We're always going to go for this sweep every single time, because if he doesn't open his base up, we get the sweep. If he opens his base up, that's when we move on to our other attacks. So I'm staying nice and tight here, always looking to go and invert this bottom knee. As you see, I can't invert the bottom knee because he opened his base up. So what we're going to look for immediately is this foot into the far hip. Now I'm going to start to push off of his hip and extend my spine here. I'm not staying curved, I'm extending my spine away. And as you see, my grip gets in the way eventually. So now I'm going to switch from a high underhook to a shoulder crunch grip. You can do one arm at a time, or you can slide it over, staying nice and tight on the shoulder. And I'm continuing to extend up his arm here. And now, once I get to a point where it's easy to extract my butterfly hook, I'm finding it in the far neck. And as you see, that took zero flexibility to do. It's all bone structure. As soon as I start to curl in, that's gonna be bad news for me. But let's go over our controlling details here first. So this heel needs to be into the far neck. My bottom knee needs to be connected to that heel. My spine needs to be extended and straight. And my head, fortunately with this setup, his arm is locked into here, and I'm able to use that to my advantage, staying nice and tight. I'm keeping his wrist, focusing on trapping his wrist into the space between my neck and my shoulder. And my arms are going to go elbow to elbow, tricep to tricep, or shoulder to shoulder. I just need to keep this space nice and tight. Joel, can you try to pressure into me? As you see, my bone structure keeps me straight. As soon as I'm trying for things like rubber guard and my spine is bent, go ahead and pressure into me. Boom, I get crushed. If I go for Williams guard, pressure into me, I get crushed. So that's the benefit of the clamp. Even when I don't have the arm into my neck, I'm using my spine as a frame, so that even here, go ahead and try to pressure into me. As you see, I slide up the mat with him. Takes zero flexibility, and he's not able to get his wrist, or get the grip, which is where a lot of my issues are gonna come into play, okay? So that is the controlling details for the clamp guard, okay? Your issues are gonna happen whenever you spin the spine, like we said, and also if this heel is not in the far neck. Go ahead and pressure into me again. As you see, he's able to flatten me out. Just that simple, heel in the far neck will stop that. Our first attack is going to be the Omoplata Sweep, because this is what we're going to come to when our follow-up attacks are not working. I'm going to reach back and I'm going to grab his lower arm wrist area. I'm going to start to pass it to the pocket of my hip side leg. From here, I'm immediately grabbing the elbow. I'm switching from controlling the wrist to controlling the elbow. This is very important for later on. Now I'm starting to overextend my spine so that my bottom knee can come out and I can pummel my leg over the face. And as you see, we're in an omoplata position. But I don't want to sit up for the finish here. I want to look for a sweep first. So I'm extending until I'm able to easily come up on this elbow here. Very important to keep control of the elbow and not the wrist. Now from here, if you can come up onto your hand, that's going to be even better for you, all right? Now we're going to rotate our knees, our hips, and our stomach down towards the mat. He's got two options: to tap from the omoplata, from his wrist being taken to the back of his head, or rolling through. When he rolls through, we're just going to our knees. We're not going to continue to roll through with him. And from here, we're going to sit into the shoulder and pull up on the elbow here. And now we're in a nice controlling position to where we can do some follow-up attacks. The first follow-up attack, well, sometimes they're going to be bridging very hard here, trying to extract this elbow. So that's why it's important to hold on to this elbow, so when he's bridging and pulling, go ahead and try, it's impossible. He's not going to have it. And as you see, a lot of his times during that bridge, his arm comes across the center line. Go ahead one more time, please. And I'm able to grab the wrist and start to force a Kimura attack here. If you really want that Kimura and they're not reaching, you can start to attack a wrist lock here. So we're going for this nice and easy. We're not one of those savage wrist lock guys, and we're going to just slowly push his fingers down to his elbow. He's got, again, we're putting him in a dilemma. Are you going to tap or are you going to give me that arm? So he easily defends it by reaching across and grabbing that wrist. But then that gives me the Kimura grip. And we're looking to get that wrist down to the mat, then our elbow down to the mat, switching our hips, stepping over, pushing off, so that we have space to get his wrist to the back of his head. Okay? Let's do that setup one more time. So I'm here, if you don't mind coming over here, please. Thank you. Going for that initial sweep, always foot into the far hips as he opens his base up. I'm elongating away. Grip is in the way, so I'm switching to the shoulder crunch. Continuing to slide and extend up his arm all the way to his wrist, staying nice and tight. Now it's space to easily come out and over to the far neck. Now another detail is always keeping your head, shoulders, and hips rotated down towards the mat. As soon as they're up towards the ceiling, pressure into me. Yep. Do it now. Not happening. Okay? Now I'm gonna grab the wrist, pass it to the pocket, grabbing the elbow, extending away, knee comes out, pummel the leg over, continue to extend away, I'll come up on the elbow. Now I'm gonna rotate down, he rolls with me, sitting into the shoulder, pulling up on the elbow, okay? Let's say that you don't want the Kimura, or you're losing this arm. Just basically something's going awry and you need to stabilize this position, okay? We're gonna look to stabilize north-south. So my head is gonna go into the far hip, and I'm going into a tripod position here, and now from there is where I can settle. Another option is them trying to bring their legs and wrap all the way around you. If you let that happen, go ahead, Joel. They might be able to shuck you off, pull their arm free, and you're in a really weird position, okay? And everybody's looking at you and laughing, all right? So what you want to do whenever they go to throw their legs over you, we're going to prevent those legs from connecting. I'm going to push this outside leg down to the mat. My elbow is going to come to the back of his knee. See, back to the knee and to the hamstring area. Outside leg steps up. We're going to staple. This knee goes down to the mat as I'm going out the back door. And from here, we're going to threaten a back take or settle in side control. Okay? So we're going to build off of this. There's going to be more reactions depending on where their pressure is during that initial butterfly sweep. During that initial butterfly sweep. Okay? So the pressure is in this far right angle. We're going to be threatening to clamp immediately. That's always going to be your initial threat when you do that first sweep. Where they pressure in after that determines what you do next. So we'll build on that with time. All right, thank you.